So about a year ago, I stumbled into a little mind game that has been incredibly powerful for me. And it has actually been a go-to anchor, a go-to mantra that seems to just constantly give me the push that I need, especially when things get rough, get hard, get overwhelming. And I just want to share that with you here today. If you find use in it, then obviously it can help you too. So about a year ago, I'm working out shoulder day, and I had this thought, man, what if I did 10 sets of 10 repetitions for 3 different movements? So it ended up being 300 total reps for my shoulders. And the thought I had was, after that was, nah, that's crazy. And then I had this weird, kind of interesting thought. If I do this workout, I get to meet the man. I get to meet the man, the version of me that did that workout. And I don't know why, but that silly thought was like a bolt from the blue for me, and I found it oddly electrifying and empowering. And then that thought would not leave me alone the rest of the day, the next day, that week, that month, and it's now just become a huge part of my life. Because I did do that workout, and I met the man. And so then I saw this sort of like analogy, this vision. Let me back up. You know how within like quantum physics and all that, there's this idea of string theory and how there's parallel universes and different versions of you. And then also there's this idea that, as you're going through time in life, there's a lot of opportunities of decisions that you could make. But as you make choices and decisions and you choose the branch you go down, all the other ones fall away that could have happened, right? And I saw this vision how in the moment, there might be like 5 different versions of me, little versions of me that I could choose to meet depending on the action I take. And then if you give it a day, there's like 100 versions. Give it a week and there's like 1,000. Give it, a year and there's like millions of versions. So let's say, for example, in the next hour, there's a version of me that I can meet who does make this video, who does stick to his commitment of making a video a day and posting it to YouTube, right? Just to build this identity of yes, I am the man who creates content that is helpful and valuable and transformative to people in this world, right? I could also meet the version of me that says, today's been a really long day. I've had 3 different issues pop up that derailed me big time. One of them cost me over 2 hours today, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's late, it's evening, the lighting is bad. No, I could be the version of me that makes excuses and says, you know what, nobody's going to be upset. I can wait a day. I can skip one day. I've posted, 70 videos so far? So there's just looking at just those 2 different options, by choosing the action of one or the other, I am by default automatically meeting the man. I'm meeting this man or I'm meeting this man. And the way I saw it, and I think this is the part that's kind of the most empowering for me, is what I saw is there's obviously like the greatest version of me and you, right? Like you have this greatest version of you that you could ultimately become and grow into. And then, of course, you and I, we also have this like really worst version of us that, God forbid, we somehow end up becoming in our life, right? Let's say there's the God version and the Satan version of us, right? Well, along the way to becoming the God-like version of yourself, there's all these like slightly greater than where you're at now versions that you would become along the way to becoming the ultimate greatest God-like version of yourself, right? You with me? And what I started seeing was my decisions and choices in actions, habits, thinking, words. Every time I make a decision, if I keep it aligned with my greatest and highest self, I'm resurrecting and meeting the man. I'm resurrecting this greater version of myself, and I'm immediately becoming one with that version of myself, and I'm elevating. I'm constantly elevating by bringing to life this greater version of me. And the only way I can bring this greater version of me is to meet the man. And the only way to meet the man is to do the thing that I know is going to move me closer to the greatest version of myself. So in some sense, you're always meeting the man. It's just, what version of the man are you meeting? Are you with me? And so back to my previous little example of where, if you zoom out, there can be like 1,000 little minis of you over long enough period of time that you have the opportunity right now to end up meeting. And which of the few you're gonna meet are the ones that you're gonna bring to life from the field of potential into the reality of the 3D dimension, right? And I don't know if this is going to land for you as good as it landed for me, but I'm telling you, meet the man as a thought, as an idea that I constantly see and think about, has become nothing short of like a secret weapon, an empowering tool that helps me get through so much, right? It's like right now I'm on a journey of attempting to do 1,000 days unbroken of working out first thing in the morning when I wake up. I call it First Kill. And today was day 707. Okay? Now believe you me, through all the things that have happened over the last 707 days, there have been more days where I felt like not working out than working out, especially first thing in the morning. That's the first thing I have to do, First Kill. I fractured a bone in my foot, kept going through that. Tore out my shoulder, had to go through that, right? Have missed travel and flights, did it through that. I remember one time I'm on the Las Vegas Boulevard at 3 a.m. working out because, I got to get my first kill in and I got an early flight. Now, on the mornings when I wake up and I don't feel like lifting or working out, there's been a lot of those mornings, the thought that always empowers me without fail is, but if I do this workout in the next 90 minutes, at the end of it, I'm gonna meet the man. I'm gonna meet the version of me that is right now dormant and waiting downstairs in my home gym in the garage. He's like a ghost of a greater version of me. And if I go down there and do the workout, I bring him to life and we become one, we unify, and I become an elevated version of myself. That was the thought. This is the mantra that got me through some of the roughest days on my journey so far that I'm into now, 707 days. All right? Today, I had so many things, multiple things happen, bizarre things that derailed me, took up a lot of time. One of them, I think, took nearly 2 hours out of my day unexpectedly. And one of the things that I was planning to do today was to make 25 sales calls to prospects for my marketing agency. And I was like, man, I'm just going to have to skip today. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving Day, holiday. I'm preparing, I'm hosting people. And then I had this, what thought I had, right? Yeah. But no matter how stressed out, exhausted I feel right now, blah, 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 frazzled mentally, if I make these 25 calls, I can meet the man. I can meet the man who secured the standard of making 25 calls today when I said I'd make 25 calls today. So I made the calls, right? And now I've met that version of me. And so, and then the other thing, so you can play the game of meet the man in the micro, like literally moment to moment, in 5-minute increments, in 30-minute increments, 60-minute increments, 3-hour increments, day-long increments, right? Week, etc. And then you can also play meet the man at the macro level. So it's a very fractal principle, because I want to meet the man who did 1,000 days unbroken of first kill, working out first thing when you wake up, no matter how you feel, where you're at, what's going on. Right? I want to meet the man who did that. I want to meet that version of me who did it. There have been so many days, even like 9 or 10 days ago, as I was closing in on 700, I had this thought. I was like, would it really matter if I just hit 700 and stopped? 700 days is a lot. Then I thought to myself, taking a rest day and taking a couple of rest days finally would feel really good for a couple days. But not continuing through to 1,000 days would burn forever. And if I've come this far, and I've gone through 2 major physical injuries and so many other obstacles, and I've stuck it out, and I've never missed, I might as well get to 1,000 days, right? So I want to meet the man. And so I just shared this little game with you that wherever you're at in life, it's this mind game that you can play with yourself. And so what happens is that it transforms mundane tasks, boring tasks, exhausting actions, good habits, taking the action when it seems like you're not making any progress. It transforms all the different things that you should be doing. It transforms them into something more exciting and powerful in the moment as you do it. Because, for example, I did a workout today, day 707. There was no dramatic change in my physique over one workout. That's never going to happen for anybody, right? A dramatic transformation in your strength or your physique over one workout. But by playing this game of Meet the Man, I did accomplish something in that workout. I met this new version of myself that did 707 days unbroken, right? I made these 25 sales calls. The only thing that happened out of them today is I believe there was 4 or 5 calls where there was a commitment for a follow-up, and it was a real tangible commitment where it felt meaningful. I didn't make any sales today from these sales calls. However, when I made these 25 calls, I met the man who made the 25 calls and stacked another deposit into that bucket of building my business. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a way to take all this hard work you got to do, all this consistency that you got to do or are doing, all these actions you should be taking, and it gives it a really fun, energetic boost right now in the moment where you can, if you're using this visualization, you're resurrecting these dormant versions of yourself that are greater than your current self right now by meeting them. And as soon as you meet them through actions, through decisions, through choices that are aligned with your greatest self, you bring them to life and you align with them, and now you're that version of yourself. So, if you found this interesting, thought-provoking, even if it feels and sounds corny, try it out. See for yourself. Go meet the man.